been another fascinating and at times dramatic Premier League weekend. And I'm joined now by John Giles to talk about some of it. John, we just might start with last night's game between Arsenal and Wolves and a shocking incident involving David Luiz, the central defender for Arsenal, and Raul Jimenez, the Wolves centre forward. We've subsequently learned this morning that it looked terrible. Jimenez, he has a fractured skull. He has had an operation overnight, and the reports are that he's okay, but that's a very, very serious. He's a young centre forward, a very good player indeed. And David Luiz stayed on the pitch, John, for about half an hour afterwards until half time. Happened early in the game. The incident was shocking. It looked very bad. And you'd fear for young Jimenez, wouldn't you, for the future, how he recovers from this and can resume, especially in the times that are in it. And you were saying to me before we started our conversation here that you were surprised, as I was, that David Luiz stayed on the pitch with a bandage and blood for about half an hour afterwards.
Amazing, Eamon. Really, with all the talk today about, head injuries and leading to Alzheimer's and all the various things, that this could happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have seen a lot of head injuries, lads.
Yes.
I've played with them where they say, I'm okay, play on.
Yeah.
And after the match, they couldn't even remember the match.
Yes.
So I'm amazed at the Arsenal doctors and that who attended to him to allow him to play on. Eamon, especially with so much talk about heading the ball and not heading the ball nowadays, to go on his, because he was obviously saying, "No, I'm okay."
He was.
He came off at half time, didn't he, Eamon?
Yeah, Mikel Arteta, who is a very smart young manager. And by no means, he's very smart. He's not a dummy. He was asked about it after the game. He said he wanted to stay on, but of course, I think you believe, and I do believe, whatever the player wants, because players are always reluctant to come off.
Yes.
You take them off, you make them come off.
Definitely, Eamon. Especially, like we've seen it over the years, and it was quite normal in our day for players to stay on.
Oh, yeah.
But I've seen players stay on, and afterwards they'd say, I can't remember the game. So they don't know. But and now with all this publicity about it, for him to have don't forget, Jimenez got a terrible knock.
He did, yeah.
So he must have suffered as well.
Yeah.
Luiz, to say, well, and then he did come off at half time. But I would imagine now that the medical people would say, no, you're not staying on, you're coming off as a precaution. I'm very, very surprised at that.
Yeah, it's amazing when young men, and we were all there, the amazing things you do. I'll just tell you quickly. I got a kick in the face playing against somebody when I was playing for Millwall. My nose was broken, and it was on a Saturday, and I went to the hospital, and the doctor came in and he said, you need to have an operation to fix that nose. And I said, well, how long will it take to be better so I can play? He said, well, you won't be able to play for a couple of weeks. I said, I have to play on Tuesday. He said, look, Eamon, if you don't get this done now, it'll haunt you when you get older. It's very important that that's fixed. And I said, no. And I went and played a match against Bristol City on a Tuesday. I mean, it was madness. And of course, I did suffer later on. Just to give you an idea, I don't need to give you an idea because you know yourself, missing one match was like the end of the world.
Oh, yeah, well, the managers got mad.
Yeah.
I mean, I played under Don for years. And Don was, well, like all managers when you were playing. I remember playing Manchester United on the Saturday. And on the Friday, I'd had a hamstring.
Yeah.
And it was nearly okay. And he said, I want you to play.
Yeah.
I said, I can't play. I said, if I play tomorrow, I think it'll go. I'm going to be out for another 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Whereas if I miss tomorrow, I'll be fit, definitely be fit for next week. And he walked away from me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't happy at all. Now, as it happened, the lads got a draw at Old Trafford. And it was okay for the following week. But that's the way managers were. The next match was the most important. I want you to play. He said, look, you can just stay in the middle of the field. I said, I won't be able to play. I said, look, I want to play. This is the thing with managers, Eamon.
Yeah.
I want to play. Apparently there was, who was the manager of Stoke, Eamon, for years? Tony Waddington.
Tony Waddington, yeah, legend.
Yeah, he used to have a couple of big centre-halves, and and big centre-halves were like that. Norman Hunter now would have played.
Yeah.
And the big centre-halves would play, but this lad had loads of injuries afterwards.
Yeah.
But that's the way managers were. The next game was the next game, and that was it. On Monday, he was fine with me. Don was fine with me on Monday. You know what I mean? The match had gone over. It was the next one he was worried about now.
The other side of that coin is when they don't want you to play and you say you've got a knock and they say, well, you better rest that.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, let's get on to the football. Manchester United and Southampton yesterday was a hell of a game, John. And Southampton are a good team. I mean, actually, in the league table at the moment, they're fifth. And they went 2-0 up against United. And you said to me at half-time, I'd back United. You were right. And it's a problem for Southampton giving up a lead like that at home. But Manchester United...
I thought it flattered them, Eamon. The United missed a couple of good chances, and then they had a couple of set pieces with that. Ward Prowse is very good. He got a good free kick, and then he scored. Good corner kick, and then he scored from a free kick himself. But United had a few chances, Eamon. Yeah. They didn't. Well, on general play, I didn't think they deserved to 2-0. They played well, Southampton, but I didn't think they deserved to be 2-0 in front. United did exceptionally well in the second half.
Just to make a point there, John, about De Gea. He was, I think, badly at fault for the Ward-Prowse free kick. He took him off at half-time and put Hennessy on. Now, Hennessy's a player you picked in your team of the year last year. He was on loan to Sheffield United. He's back at Old Trafford now. And taking De Gea off at half-time was
I think he was injured, Eamon.
Was he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think he bumped into... I wouldn't blame him too much for the free kick. It was a brilliant free kick, which was very, very close to the upright. And when the goalkeeper's getting across, or Ramos says they have to get behind the ball to do it. But with that particular free kick, and free kicks like that I've seen in other games, it's very hard for the goalkeeper to get behind the ball without going into the goalpost. And he did finish up hitting his shoulder. I think he was shouldered on it. I think he was injured.
Right.
Rather than taken off for yesterday's match.
Now, the two key players, really, Edison Cavani has been a fantastic player. He's played for PSG. He's been around the world. And he's Uruguayan. He scored an awful lot of goals. And he scored two fabulous goals yesterday. And Bruno Fernandes again. Fernandes scored the very important first goal. Let's talk about Fernandes, John. He really has emerged since he's been at United as a really top player, a leader, and he seems to me to be getting more confident and better all the time. I don't think he ever lacked confidence, but he's a hell of a player, John, isn't he?
He's a very, very valuable player, Eamon. I would put him in the Frank Lampard. Gerrard mould.
Yes.
Where they're goal-scoring midfield players.
Yep.
Coming from midfield. I don't think he's a midfield player at all.
No.
But he's exceptionally good in the position that he plays. Because where he plays, it's very, very difficult to mark him.
Yes.
He's neither a midfield player or a forward up front. Where the forwards up front are easier to mark. He's able to float around in the game. At the right time, and the main thing he does, he gets into the right position at the right time.
Yes.
In other words, he doesn't stay up there, but he's not a midfield player as such that's going to control the game like a Paul Scholes.
Yes.
But he's a very, very valuable player in what he does. He's good around the middle of the field. He doesn't give the ball away. But his main thing is getting up there. Again, picking out the right pass for his colleagues.
Yes.
He picks them and he makes a good few goals as well. And very, very good around the goals himself, gets into the right position. He's a good natural footballer, Eamon, good positional sense, as they say, to be in the right place at the right time, and well able to finish. No, he's a good, really, really, really good player.
He is indeed.
Terrific player.
He is, and he will be key to the success of Manchester United in the future. If, like everyone who loves football, wants to see Manchester United be successful. It's been up and down. He made a goal for Cavani yesterday. Now, this guy, Cavani's 33. He's been around, but what an athlete. Very, very fit. And the way he operates in the box. 2 headers he scored yesterday they won the game, of course, for United.
Yeah.
But they were really, really good headers. He was getting on the end of passes by timing his run, by finding the space in the box. Real top-class stuff.
Yeah, and funny enough, he had a header. I think the first header that just went wide as well.
Did, right.
I didn't think it was a good idea for United to take him, and I must be honest. Yeah. I thought, well, he's near the end of his days, and Manchester United will be doing that. But, as you say, he's very, very fit, and I think, scoring a couple of goals yesterday particularly will really, really do his confidence the world of good. And it's the type of player that United need up there. I don't think Rashford is a centre forward as such, and to have him as a target man and to get the ball in the box for headers.
Yeah,
he certainly looks like he'll do a good job for them.
He's fit as a flea and hungry, John. When he scored the 2 goals, you could see he screamed. Oh, yeah. He really, really wants it, and having that kind of hunger and enthusiasm to go with the ability at his age. It's a very good sign of his character, and that's the first time he only come on as a sub, but he needs to start for United now. I think he's good enough to start, and he hasn't started a Premier League game yet, as far as I'm aware. But he does need to start, and with him and Fernandes, you got 2 world-class forwards.
Yeah. It's what they need now, Eamon, and there's not many about, is a young Scholes.
Yeah.
Somebody around the middle of the field that can find Fernandes, particularly in those positions that he gets in. I mean, he's doing okay, but if he had somebody in there really dictating the play, he'd be hugely. He is hugely dangerous now. But if Cavani does as he appears to be able to do now, Eamon, it should be a big plus for United.
Yeah. Now I've been scathing about Fred in the past. Thought he cost too much and had a bad first year. He's improved an awful lot, I think. I think I was wrong, judged him too early. He is now having a go, and he is a very good footballer. He may not be quite what you need at the level United need to be at, but he is playing well, John.
Yeah, he is. He's a good footballer, Eamon. He's good control in that. He's not a Scholes, but there again, there's not many like Scholes anyway, and I'll keep going on about him. But he plays well. He's good control, and he picks out the pass. He doesn't give the ball away. He's a good footballer. He's a good footballer. Whether he can, I don't think he can actually dictate the game.
No.
But he can do a fair amount, and he's probably better than anybody else in the club at doing what he's likely to do or able to do in the middle of the field.
Now, there's another young player who's got into this side. The left back, Alex Telles. They signed him in the summer. It cost about 21 million, which is cheap these days. I think he's a very good player, John. Now, Shaw is injured and may come back in, but this guy, Telles, is quick. He's good left foot. He looks like he can defend. And he looks to me ready-made.
Yeah, he could. I don't know him, and I couldn't tell you what he's like. I haven't seen enough of him. Yeah.
The other one, John, is Van de Beek. He got a start yesterday, and he started in midweek in the Champions League game. We don't know yet because we haven't seen enough of him, but we saw enough of him at Ajax and for Holland to think he could be an important player for United.
Yeah, I think he's a good player, Eamon. It's where you're going to fit him in.
Yeah.
Because the position that I've seen him play in is very similar to Fernandes.
Yeah.
I can't see those two playing together. And he's a bit tentative in his play. He doesn't have the confidence yet.
Yeah.
He definitely can play, but it's where to fit him in and to have the confidence to do what needs to be done. But he's very, very similar, and he plays a little bit further forward than Fernandes.
Yeah.
But I think he's, again, a goal-scoring midfield player.
Yes.
But you can have, like, they're very good players, Eamon, but you need the balance. You know, you need the balance in there. I don't think you need two of a similar type in that particular position, because it's taken up. It obviously takes taking up a place.
Yeah.
And then you got to leave somebody else out in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and you do need a playmaker. You do need someone to set the tempo. It's very important in any team. Just to quickly, John, because I want to move on to the other matches and the other big clubs. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously respected and a very nice guy, and was a terrific player. Some weeks I think, you know, he's fine. He'll do a great job. And I think yesterday it's the first time United have won their first 4 away games since, for 30 years, since the 80s, which may be 40 years. Now, what do you make of him?
Well, I mean, you say the stats he's done it, but I don't think they've won at home.
No, they haven't. The thing about the question I would have is this. I don't know what Manchester United's best team is, and I don't think he knows because he keeps changing it.
Yeah, well, he should know. I don't think he has the control of the club that you would want from Manchester United.
Yes,
and that then you have the inconsistency. They say, "Oh, they're inconsistent."
Yeah.
Well, that's because, what's his best team? Does he know his best team? Is he doing this? Good managers. That's what you see. A good manager, they're consistent in their performance. And when I'm watching him on the touchline, he's looking at me saying, "Well, okay, go out and play."
We've both talked about this, John. You watch coaches like Mourinho or Klopp, Ferguson, when the game is going on, and you can see they're looking at things in a sort of analytical way and forensic way. You look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's just staring blankly at the pitch. Now, we could be misreading this, but it does suggest...
that could be wrong. Yeah. I don't believe in running up and down the pitch and being...
No.
You know what I mean? I mean, you're looking at the game, but you certainly be... You would expect to be more animated, than he is. I think he's... I don't think he's in charge of buying the players. I think the players are bought for him, and then it's a question of going out and playing. And when you've got a lot of good players like they have, Eamon, of course you're going to play well some days, but it's the consistency that you need to do it week in, week out, week in and week out. And that's not the case at the moment. A good result yesterday, were 2 down and they came back. And as you say, away from home, they've won nearly all their matches. And they've had a couple of hidings at home.
Yeah. Spurs 6-1.
You have to be consistent in it. Yeah. That's how you win the blooming the Premiership, or any league.
Anyway, with a game in hand, they're 6 points, I think, behind Liverpool and Spurs. Let's talk about Liverpool, John, and Jurgen Klopp. Very angry after the draw at Brighton, and was angry on Friday, and has been really vocal about 2 things. One is the teams that are in Europe not being accommodated in any way by the Premier League, having lunchtime kickoffs on a Saturday, for example. And the other thing, not being allowed to use 5 subs, only being allowed to use 3. He thinks they should allow 5, but the Premier League had a vote on this, and the smaller clubs won the vote, I think 14-6 or something. Their argument being that having 5 substitutions would make it easier for the big clubs with big squads, and it would make it harder for them. I have sympathy for Klopp, a lot of sympathy, because his players and other coaches' players are going down like flies. But I don't think you quite see it that way, do you?
No, I think his anger is aimed at in the wrong direction, Eamon. I mean, where his anger should be directed, in my opinion, is the owners of the clubs.
Yeah, he had to go at Des Kelly, who's representing BT. That's not good.
I have here that in front of me. He's having to go at Des Kelly, who worked for BT.
Yeah, and he's a good journalist.
Who only does the matches. Yeah. And he was being very sarcastic to him. In one of his first, he says, "Well, congratulations. You got another player injured," or something like that.
Yes.
Des Kelly, to be fair to him, stuck up to him. I'm not going to read it out. I have it here.
Yeah.
But I think he's aiming in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
The people who have made the agreements with BT are the owners of the club, Eamon.
Yeah.
And the owners, see what BT have done and Sky have done, if you look at it, they've kept the game going, Eamon.
Yeah.
Without them, the Premiership could be broke.
Yes, but the point, right. There is a point. They can choose for to suit their schedule if it's a lunchtime kickoff. Or
yes, but that was an agreement. That was an agreement with the owners of the clubs.
Yeah,
that was the contract that they signed. But the owners of a club, where Klopp should be having a go is the owners, whomever made the agreement at Liverpool.
Yeah,
not at Des Kelly. Yeah. And BT, I mean, they're a business, Eamon. Of course, if they come to an agreement with the club, they're going to pick the best fixtures.
Okay.
So he's aiming in the wrong direction, and the other direction he's aiming at is the 5 thing. I mean, all the other managers and the Premier League have turned that down.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So but particularly at BT and Des Kelly on the Saturday. I mean, it's just ridiculous, and I think he's getting a lot of bad publicity for it, Klopp, at this particular time.
Okay.
I think he's aiming the guns in the wrong direction.
Okay. The Brighton result won't have pleased Klopp either. It was a late call by VAR, but I think Robertson took a swing at the ball in the box. He missed the ball. He kicked his opponent. Penalty. There's nothing you can do.
No, but again, we'll go back to VAR, Eamon. And like Salah had a goal, looked a good goal. It was just offside. But at the moment, he had a few going for him as well. Like all managers, you know. But there's more just when it goes against you. I mean, Steve Bruce is the only one manager I've seen where it was at Spurs when Dyer got a handball against him. He's the only manager I've seen say, well, I don't agree with that. That was a bad decision. Yeah,
and even though it went his way,
they say nothing after match, Eamon, when it goes for them.
Okay,
nothing.
Brighton, I think we both agree, a good side, and in particular, Aaron Connolly started down the middle on Saturday. Now he missed the sitter when he was 1-on-1 with the keeper, but I thought his general performance is very, very good. He's still got a lot going for him, still very young. Looks like he needs a goal, John, for his confidence. What do you think of him? And is that the right place to play him? And of course, that has massive implications for Stephen Kenny in Ireland.
Well, I would play him up front, Damon. I think he's game. I think he's got the pace. I think he's got the confidence. He's got to show now that he can finish, Damon.
Yeah.
That's like all strikers, can they finish? They can make runs, they can do all sorts of things. And he's young. I think he'll learn. And I think he's the type of lad who won't get his head down.
No.
If he misses a chance or two, he looks a cocky lad to me.
Yeah.
Which is fair to look as long as he can deliver. And I would have high hopes for him.
Yes.
And I hope he does especially for Stephen Kenny's point of view.
Now, John, Leeds United. Your first love, or maybe your second love. They went to Everton. Everton are really struggling. It just shows how much Seamus Coleman has missed for one. But Luca Dean, the left back, is also injured. And they look a bit short of real quality. But I thought Leeds were brilliant on Saturday night. I really did. And this man, Marcelo Bielsa, he's their coach. He's an Argentine. He's on the list, the FIFA list of 6 coaches for Coach of the Year. Now, Klopp is on it and others, so he may not win it. But tell me what you think of his amazing team and how they play.
Well, first of all, I think he's fantastic, Eamon.
Yeah.
To go to Leeds without spending, I think they only finished mid-table the season before.
Yeah.
And to do what he did is remarkable because he hasn't spent a lot of money. He spent a few quid this year, but very, very little in relation to the some of the other clubs. So he obviously believes in what he's doing, home or away. I think this is the courage that he has. If you see them play at Everton and in a lot of teams, the other good win they had away somewhere, I think it was at Villa.
Yeah.
where Villa had beaten Liverpool only a couple of weeks beforehand.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think his attitude is, listen, lads, home or away, this is what we do.
Yes.
We're going to go for it. In other words, when we have the ball, we're going to attack. No, I don't think there's any great tactics in it. I think he's got a good work ethic, Eamon, that he expects them all to do a really, really hard job. Get back when you lose it, and all the I think it's down to some basic stuff, Eamon.
Yeah.
Like when you were a kid and I was a kid playing football, and you talk about tactics. When you played, I played in the street. I don't know if you played much in the street, but playing in the street, if I lost the ball,
where else do you think I was playing? Wembley?
But of course, when you lost the ball in the street, Eamon, and you stood still, your pal say, "Hey, come on, get back." Or if you whacked it up the pitch to nobody, say, what are you doing? You get after. In other words, the basics of football. I don't want to get too tactical about it. When you haven't got the ball, everybody's obliged to get it back. And when you have it, everybody's obliged to do the most positive thing that you can do under the circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think, that's what he does. In other words, we have the ball, home or away. Don't be worried about the home and away business. We're going for it.
Yeah.
When we haven't got it, everybody's going to defend. So I think what you'll find with him, Eamon, and obviously the better the players you have, the more successful that becomes. But I think what you'll find with him, I think he'll win matches that you don't expect him to win.
Yeah.
And I think he'll lose matches that you don't expect him to lose.
Okay. And by the way, don't say you don't want to get too technical. With a very nice mail from one of our listeners who said, will you tell John to stop saying that? Because I've been watching him for 30 years, and I love it when he gets too technical.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
One other thing about
I won't
Leeds,
say it anymore, Eamon.
yeah, they paid 21 million for a Brazilian, Rafinha. He scored the winning goal at Everton, and it was a hell of a goal. And he looks a really good player. And, as we know, prices are very inflated these days, but he looks like money well spent.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's going to be able to afford to waste money.
No.
I think he's a Brazilian lad, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Yeah, he's a good player, John.
Well, they all can play, Eamon, as we know.
Yeah.
Now, whether he can contribute on a regular basis with his work ethic and that remains to be seen.
Right.
But I'd be surprised if they didn't know what he can do before they bought him.
Okay.
But he will insist. No, there's nobody going to be standing around in that team.
No.
But they were very good, Eamon, as you said. I was surprised how good they were on the day.
Yeah.
I thought Everton were a good team, but they totally outplayed them. And well deserved to win the match. There's no doubt about that.
Now, the last game, John, we want to talk about is Chelsea Spurs. Two big London clubs, two big coaches. Frank Lampard, of course, starting out in his career, but he's been impressive in so much of what he's done. And Jose Mourinho at Spurs, who are this morning top of the league, along with Liverpool, they're top on goal difference. Tell me about what you think Jose's done there to improve them and get them to where they are, and will they stay there? In contention, I mean.
Well, they'd definitely be in contention, and there's no doubt, along with Chelsea. But obviously, he's done a job, a very good job. And again, I think there's not going to be any stars with him, Eamon, who are not doing their job. Yeah, and it shows that with my pal Dele Alli.
Dele Alli, yeah,
he's not in the squad, Eamon.
No.
And I think that's what he tried to do in a certain way at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
With Pogba.
Yeah.
Right. But I think I'll just go back a little bit, Pogba. I mean, I think he gave his go-ahead to get the job at Old Trafford to sign Pogba.
Right.
Because he did say at the time, he's a world-class player. I remember him saying that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he ever believed it. And I think he went with the chief executive to get Pogba. I think it looked like a good signing. This is only my take on it. But when they got playing, Eamon, it got to the stage where he couldn't live with Pogba.
No.
And he did get him out of the team and that.
Yeah.
But Pogba, I think, was too big a name for him to do what he did at other clubs. Now, he's gone to Dele Alli and to Spurs to Dele Alli. Dele Alli is a good player, as we know, Eamon. You won't have him at all.
No. Well,
he's not going to do what he wants him to do.
Yeah.
For the team. So that's what he's got now at Spurs. I don't think he could do that at Old Trafford, actually.
Right.
What he's done at other clubs, to be the boss, to have everybody doing what he wants them to do. So I think he's in that position now. I think Spurs will continue to be good. Now, whether it'll be good enough to win it, Eamon, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think. Obviously, it's doubtful with Liverpool and that there, particularly.
Now, Chelsea, John.
So just finish. Can I just finish?
Oh, sure, yeah.
When it was back to himself doing defensive with that. On the game itself, I didn't enjoy the game, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy the game. I found it a bit boring.
Yeah.
I think the Spurs were very deep, and Chelsea in the end with Giroud had the best chances of the game. So they could have nicked it, but I didn't find it attractive to watch.
No.
And I'm not usually up for attraction in that particular way, but I didn't really enjoy the game.
No, and I think Frank Lampard has signed Thiago Silva, who's 36. Now, Chelsea were leaking goals very badly for about 12 months, really, John. They haven't leaked money lately, and he looks like good business. Even at 36, John, he's a very, very shrewd player. He's organising everything around him, and the goals, they've stopped giving away the goals. It only goes to show, doesn't it? These great defenders can play and make a massive contribution.
Oh, definitely. They can organise people around him, Eamon.
Yeah.
Particularly the person beside him, which is the co-defender.
Yeah.
I don't think they had anybody. When he wasn't there, Eamon, the two at the back were very similar to each other.
Yeah.
And they got a goalkeeper, Eamon. Don't forget.
Pardon?
Eamon. They got a goalkeeper.
Oh, very good. Yeah, and a good goalkeeper. Mendy.
Now that's your starting point. You're a Liverpool supporter. Liverpool, before they got a goalkeeper in bits, Eamon.
Yeah.
And the guy before this guy at Chelsea wasn't. He was letting loads of goals.
No, he was. Yeah, he was hopeless. Yeah,
that's two big signings for him.
He cost 70 million, but he was hopeless. They're both going to be in contention, aren't they? I think Chelsea and Spurs.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They'll be there or thereabouts. But I think when it gets going and Liverpool get the player, I can't see anybody stopping Liverpool, Eamon.
No, I think they will. And just a final word, John. Manchester City halfway down the table now. They had a 5-0 stroll in the park against Burnley, who looked like they might be in trouble. City just aren't really what they were in terms of, we talked about this last week, in terms of the intensity that they put into it, particularly when they didn't have the ball.
Yeah, well, the intensity is one thing, Eamon, but again, you go back to the players that they had. So David Silva, company, Aguero.
Yeah.
They've lost at least four players that were top class players. You can't do that unless you replace them with and it's very difficult to replace them.
Yeah.
They'll be there or thereabouts, Eamon. They'll have the days where they'll be capable of beating anybody on the day, but I don't think they'll have the consistency to win it.
No, or even be serious contenders. Okay, John.
Well, they'll be in the top four. I mean, they'll do a lot of damage to the teams around them,
Yeah, well, you love Pep. I know that. And maybe you've gone off him a bit now. Bielsa's your man now, isn't he?
I don't love him as much as you love Klopp.
Okay, Chief. Thanks for talking to us. That's John Giles, great player and the greatest analyst there's ever been. Thank you very much, John.